The science of today is the technology of tomorrow. Edward Teller.
Welcome on Yadi Aprianto's channel. Development of Industrial Revolution 4.0 and its effect on education and citizenship in senior high school. Thesis research proposal. Submitted to fulfill part of the requirements to obtain a Master's in Citizenship Education. Yadi Aprianto, Bachelor of Education. 1907-169. Department of Education and Citizenship. Postgraduate School. Indonesian Education University. 2020.
Before watching the following video, please like, subscribe, and press the bell button, so you get notifications when we upload new videos.
Table of Contents. 1. Research title. 2. Background. 3. Identification of problems. 4. Scope of problem. 5. Formulation of the problem. 6. Research purposes. 7. Benefits of research. 9. Hypothesis. 10. Research methodology. 11. References.
1. Research title. The development of the 4.0 Industrial Revolution and its effect on citizenship education in high schools. 2. Background. Current technological developments have entered into automation technology with cyber technology that affects all aspects of human life including education. The young generation, especially senior high school level, is considered to be one of the groups most affected by the Industrial Revolution 4.0, both when they are in school, at home, and in the game environment. High school students at this time can be said to not be separated from the internet connection. Almost all students have smartphones that can be connected to the internet. In addition to obtaining information and knowledge, it can also be used to order public transportation, order goods and services, access social media, open and download multimedia files, order tickets and lodging, can become a seller for local and even international markets through the marketplace or social media, can access internet banking or mobile banking, can get disaster warnings from BMKG, can make tax payments online, can take care of citizenship documents, KDP, SIM, passport, online, even can upload multimedia files, video, sounds, files etc., and many other things that can be done only with a smartphone. Based on the description above, the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education in the classroom or through assignments will inevitably be affected by the Industrial Revolution 4.0. 3. Identification of problem. Based on the background that has been analyzed, then identify the problem as follows. 1. The development of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 can positively influence the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education on high school students. 2. The development of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 can negatively influence the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education on high school students. 4. Scope of problem. Based on the identification of the problems obtained by the author, the limitations in this study emphasize the influence of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 on citizenship education in one of the high schools in Bandung. Researchers discuss more about the Industrial Revolution 4.0 specifically. 1. Effects of internet usage through smartphones and laptops when learning civic education in class. 2. The influence of the use of technology whether connected to the internet or not in learning civic education outside the classroom. 5. Formulation of the problem. Based on the background that has been analyzed, the formulation of the problem is as follows. 1. Can the development of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 affect the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education to high school students? 2. How can the development of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 affect the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education process for high school students? 3. What positive effect does the development of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 have on the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education process on high school students? 4. What negative effect can be gained from the development of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 on the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education process on high school students? 5. How can the positive influence of the development of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 outweigh the negative influence on the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education? 6. How can the negative influence of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 on process of teaching and learning activities on civic education be minimized? 6. Research purposes. The purpose of this study is based on the existing problem formulation, namely 1. Can find out the extent of the impact of the development of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 on process of teaching and learning activities on civic education on high school students. 2. Can know and explore the positive effects of the development of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 on the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education in high school so that it can be replicated at other educational institutions and levels. 3. Can provide solutions to reduce the negative impact of the development of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 on the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education at the high school level.
7. Benefits of research. The benefits that can be obtained from this research are: 1. By doing this research, civic education teachers are expected to be able to maximize the positive influence of the development of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 on the learning process of civic education and can minimize the negative impacts. 2. It is expected that students can sort out and choose information, applications that are useful for themselves in general and in particular for the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education process. In the end, the influence of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 can make students a good citizen and play an active role in their rights and obligations as citizens. 3. Encourage civic education experts in Indonesia to conduct further research on civic education in the era of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 so as to form the civic education curriculum of the Industrial Revolution era 4.0. 9. Hypothesis. 1. The influence of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 can simplify the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education process, especially at the senior secondary level. 2. In addition to being able to facilitate the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education, the influence of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 can also play a bad role in the process of teaching and learning activities on civic education process if students and teachers cannot understand and use it properly. 10. Research methodology. A. Research design. This research uses a quantitative approach that is a multiple effect, which is to determine the effect of two independent variables on one dependent variable. The subjects in this study were students in one of the high schools in Bond. B. Data collection techniques. This research uses a quantitative approach that is a multiple effect, which is to determine the effect of two independent variables on one dependent variable. The subjects in this study were students in one of the high schools in Bond. The data in this study were collected using the documentation method, which is used to collect data on students' academic achievement, namely by looking at the average student report card grades in the last semester, the subject of the study. In this study, data collection was also carried out using a questionnaire, where the questionnaire used in this study. The questionnaire contained the subject's identity consisting of name, class, gender, and the date the questionnaire was filled out. Because of the large number of respondents in this study, the questionnaire used was a closed questionnaire, so respondents only chose the answers provided. C. Research instruments. Research instrument is a tool or facility used by researchers in collecting data. The instrument used in this study was a questionnaire. Questionnaire sheets are questionnaire sheets to subjects or respondents in accordance with the objectives of the study. The purpose of making this questionnaire is to obtain relevant information with the highest possible reliability and validity and obtain relevant information. D. Trial of instruments. Instrument testing is an action carried out in quantitative research to test the validity of the instruments used. The test is carried out by conducting research trials both with the same sample or different samples but with the same character. As a result of this trial, items of the right and the wrong instruments will be obtained so that they are declared null and void. Testing instruments in this study include the validity and reliability of the existing questionnaire items. If the item in question is invalid or not reliable, the item is declared invalid. If there are items that fall because they are invalid or reliable, the researcher must be able to replace them with new items. B. Data validity. Validity is a form of ability level of a test in research in measuring the scope of the substance to be measured. Validity refers to correct measurement through the correct instrument. In research, validity is divided into 4 types, including A. Content validity. To get content validity, 2 important aspects are needed, namely content validity and the validity of the sampling technique. Content validity covers matters relating to the ability of items in the test questions, while the sampling validity shows the ability of a test sample to represent the total coverage of the contents. B. Construct validity. Construct validity is the level or degree of ability of a test to be able to measure the form and shape of a concept. The process of construct validation can be done with hypothesis testing, which is reduced from the relevant construct theory. C. Concurrent validity. Concurrent validity is the ability or degree of a particular test to be correlated and connected with other tests. Concurrent validity is determined by establishing a relationship, analysis, or differentiation between the 2 tests concerned. D. Predictive validity. Prediction validity is a degree of ability of a test to be able to predict how someone in carrying out a planned task or work. The predictive validity of a test is generally determined by establishing between the test scores and some measure of success in a particular situation that is used to predict success. F. Reliability. Reliability can be called the consistency value of research instruments. Reliability refers to an understanding that an instrument can be trusted enough to be used so that the instrument's data collection tool is good. Hypothesis testing in this study uses multiple regression techniques. Multiple regression, which is to analyze the effective learning motivation and intelligence level of an independent variable on the variable of learning achievement as a dependent variable. Reliability testing in research uses the Cronbach alpha formula, S.War, 2002, namely as following. To determine the consistency of the measuring instrument, a reliability test was conducted. The technique used to obtain the consistency of this measuring instrument is the Cronbach alpha technique. According to S.War, 2006, theoretically, the magnitude of the reliability coefficient ranges from 0 to 1.00. The perfect reliability coefficient has a coefficient of 1.00. G. Data analysis techniques. In quantitative research, data analysis activities are divided into 2 activities, namely describing data and conducting statistical tests. Inference. The activity of describing the data is to describe the existing data in order to obtain the real form of the respondent, so that it is more easily understood by researchers or others who are interested in the results of the research conducted. Activities describing the data can be done with descriptive statistical measurements. A. Central tendency. Measures which include measuring central tendency are as follows. 1. The mode or score that appears most often compared to other scores. 2. Median, or is a point or score divided 50% below. 3. Mean is the average score of the data. B. Variability. Measurement of variability include 1. Standard deviation. 2. Variant. 3. Quartile. 4. Decile. 5. Percentile. C. Comparison and position of scores. In a research methodology, a researcher is often faced with the dilemma of taking action to be able to justify a logical conclusion on the basis of existing data or a limited premise. This can be done in accordance with the basic rules of statistics. The approach needed in this process is a statistical inference approach that serves to determine the results of existing data with the results of the population. That is why we need an analysis using statistical inference to see further the possibility of data and various complexities therein. D. Data normality test. E. Bivariate correlation analysis. 1. First hypothesis test. Data from the analysis showed that the t-value was 2.305 with a significance level of 0.022, p 0.05. This shows that intelligence significantly influences academic achievement. Thus, the hypothesis which states that there is an influence of the level of intelligence on academic achievement is accepted. 2. Second hypothesis test. Based on the data analysis, the calculated value of t is 3.703 with a significance level of 0.000, p 0.01. This shows that learning motivation has a very significant effect on academic achievement. Thus, the second hypothesis in this study was accepted, namely there is an influence of learning motivation on learning achievement. 3. Third hypothesis test. Based on the data analysis, results show the calculated F value of 9.018 with a significance level of 0.00, p 0.01. This shows that intelligence and motivation to learn together have a very significant effect on academic achievement. Thus, the hypothesis which states that there is an influence of the level of intelligence and learning motivation on learning achievement is accepted. Based on the value of R² of 0.093 shows that intelligence and motivation to learn contributed 9.3% to academic achievement. F. Multivariate correlation analysis. Multivariate analysis is used in this study to look for functional relationships of all independent variables.
Referensi Sugiono 2009 Metode Penelitian Kuantitatif, Kualitatif dan R&D Bandung, Alpha Beta Sukardi 2008 Metode Penelitian Pendidikan, Kompetensi dan Praktiknya Jakarta, Bumi Aksara Wahyudin 2019 Statistika Terapan Bandung, Penerbit Mandiri Christensen, C.M. 1997 The Innovators Dilemma Harvard Business Darwin, C. 2004 On the Origin of Species Kastelbu Friedman, T. 2006 Sejarah Ringkas Abad ke-21 Dian Rakyat Van, I.M. 2000 Globalization, Creates or Opportunity Hardiman, F. 2004 Filsafat Modern, dari Machiavelli sampai Nietzsche Jakarta, Gramedia Pustaka Utama Hokin, A. 2002 Globalization in World History London, Pimlico Jacob, T. 1988 Manusia Ilmu dan Teknologi Yogyakarta, Tiara Wacana Hasali, R. 2018 Strawberry Generation Jakarta, Mizan Kusumo Hamid Jojo 2009 Filsafat Kebudayaan, Proses Realisasi Manusia Yogyakarta, Jala Sutra Prasetyo, B. 2018 Alam dan Manusia Waskita, 3746 Reader, G. 2010 Globalization, A Basic Text English, Wille Blackwell Sandu, C. 2012 Globalization, Definition, Processes and Concepts Journal of National Institute of Statistics